Welcome to today's episode of Mental Health Matters. I'm Dr. Emma Richards, a clinical psychologist specializing in personality disorders. Today, we're discussing a topic that affects many relationships, narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. We'll explore how to recognize the signs and protect yourself from narcissistic behavior.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Thompson, a relationship counselor who's worked with many clients affected by narcissistic relationships. I'm excited to dive into this important topic with Dr. Richards today. So, Emma, could you start by explaining what exactly NPD is?
Absolutely, Mark. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Behind this mask of extreme confidence often lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism.
That's a great explanation. I think many people casually use the term narcissist without understanding it's actually a clinical condition. Could you help our listeners understand the difference between someone who's just self-centered versus someone with NPD?
You raise an excellent point. We all have some narcissistic traits. Healthy self-confidence and self-care are normal. However, NPD is diagnosed when these traits become extreme, inflexible, and cause significant problems in relationships and daily functioning. Someone with NPD shows a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and a lack of empathy for others that begins by early adulthood.
I've noticed that in my practice. Clients often don't realize they're dealing with narcissistic behavior until they're deeply entangled in the relationship. What are some early warning signs people should watch for?
Look for someone who consistently turns conversations back to themselves, shows little interest in your concerns, and reacts poorly to criticism. Early in relationships, watch for love bombing, excessive flattery, attention, and gifts that feel disproportionate to how long you've known each other. This can be a manipulation tactic to gain your trust quickly.
Love bombing is definitely something I see often. Another red flag I notice is how they speak about their exes or other people in their lives, often describing everyone else as crazy or against them, while presenting themselves as the perpetual victim.
Absolutely. That victim mentality is a classic sign. Let me share some specific behaviors to watch for in everyday interactions. First, grandiosity. They exaggerate achievements and talents. Second, preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success or power. Third, belief that they're special and unique and should only associate with other high-status people. Fourth, requiring excessive admiration. And fifth, a sense of entitlement.
Those are excellent points. I'd add that narcissists often lack empathy. They're unwilling to recognize others' feelings and needs. They can be envious of others or believe others are envious of them. And they frequently display arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes.
Exactly right, Mark. In daily life, this might look like someone who constantly interrupts you, dismisses your opinions, or makes condescending remarks. They might take credit for your ideas or achievements, or make everything about them, even your problems or successes.
I think it's also worth mentioning some of the manipulation tactics narcissists commonly use. Gaslighting is a big one, where they make you question your own reality and memories. That never happened, or you're too sensitive, are phrases my clients often hear hearing.
Gaslighting is indeed extremely common and damaging. Other tactics include triangulation, where they play people against each other to create conflict and maintain control. There's also projection, where they accuse others of the very behaviors they're guilty of. And don't forget the silent treatment, which is used as punishment when they don't get their way.
Those manipulation tactics can be so confusing for people experiencing them. I've seen clients blame themselves, thinking they're the problem. So once someone recognizes these signs, what should they do to protect themselves?
The first step is always awareness. Recognizing these patterns is powerful in itself. Then, set clear boundaries about what behavior you will and won't accept. Communicate these boundaries directly and calmly without jading, that's justifying, arguing, defending, or explaining, as narcissists will use these openings to manipulate the conversation.
I completely agree about not jading. I also recommend what I call the gray rock technique to my clients. This means becoming as interesting as a gray rock to the narcissist, giving minimal responses, avoiding emotional reactions, and not sharing personal information that could be used against you later.
The gray rock method can be very effective in reducing conflict. Another important strategy is building a strong support network. Narcissists often try to isolate their targets from friends and family, so maintaining those connections is crucial. Having trusted people who can validate your experiences helps counter the gaslighting effects.
Absolutely. And I definitely suggest documenting everything when possible. Keep texts, emails, and notes about interactions. This helps combat gaslighting by providing concrete evidence of what actually occurred. I also tell clients to manage their expectations. Narcissists rarely acknowledge fault or change their behavior patterns.
That's an important point about expectations. When interacting with someone with NPD, understand that their limitations in empathy and self-awareness are not likely to change without intensive professional help, which many narcissists resist. Don't take their behavior personally. Their actions reflect their disorder, not your worth.
And if the relationship is taking a significant toll on your mental health, it's okay to consider limiting contact or even ending the relationship if possible. Your well-being matters. If it's a family member or coworker you can't avoid, having strategic, limited interactions is often the best approach.
Absolutely. And consider seeking professional support for yourself. Therapy can help process the emotional impact of narcissistic relationships and develop coping strategies. Therapists who specialize in narcissistic abuse can be particularly helpful.
That's excellent advice. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up?
Remember that healing from narcissistic relationships takes time. Be patient with yourself and practice self-compassion. Focus on rebuilding your confidence and trust in your own perceptions. And know that you deserve relationships based on mutual respect, empathy, and genuine care.
Those are wonderful closing thoughts, Dr. Richards. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. To our listeners, we hope this discussion helps you recognize narcissistic behavior patterns and protect your well-being.
Thank you, Mark. And remember, everyone, awareness is the first step toward change. If you're dealing with narcissistic behavior in your life, you're not alone, and there are strategies that can help. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time on Mental Health Matters.